well. The first thing we're going to do is something called brain gym. And the first exercise in brain gym is to drink some water until you feel fully hydrated. So everybody drink some water first. Okay, the next brain gym exercise is called brain buttons. Brain buttons are straight down from your eyes, right below your clavicle. This is your clavicle, this bone here. And right below that bone, there's 2 points. They're like indentations. With one of your hands, I'd like you to massage those 2 points. They're right below the clavicle. They're not way down here. They're right below the clavicle, and you'll feel probably some, maybe a little tenderness there. With your other hand, just place that on your navel. And I'd like you to just rub on those points and then look to the right and to the left. Don't move your head, just move your eyes, right and left. What this does is increases the blood flow to your brain. That's why they're called brain buttons. The next one we're going to do is earth buttons and sky buttons. Place your index finger above your upper lip and other finger, next finger below your lower lip, and then the heel of your hand on your navel, just like this. And then just look up and look down. Looking up is accessing spirit, looking down is accessing grounding. So looking up, looking down. Alternately. Don't move your head, just move your eyes. And then continue by placing your hand here on your tailbone. Looking up, looking down. Looking up, looking down. These are very powerful exercises, very simple movements based on Chinese medicine, having profound results very quickly. Next one is called energy yawn. What I'd like you to do is just massage your TMJ, which is the place where your jaw comes together, temporal mandibular joint, and just yawn. Next one is called thinking cap. What you'll be doing is massaging around your ears. Just massage all around your ears. This stimulates all the acupuncture points that are in your ears, which in fact correspond to all areas of your body. What this is good for any type of, before you do any type of listening, as in a lecture or workshop, or even listening to the inner voice, the still small voice within you, intuition. Okay, the owl. What I'd like you to do is grasp onto the trapezius muscle, which is your shoulder muscle there. Really grasp onto that. And then stretch. Stretch. All right, now we'll do it on the other side. And stretch back and forth. Stretch. Next one, I'm going to demonstrate this one first. When we do this one, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be drawing an infinity sign in the air. It's called lazy eights because it's like an 8 on its side. So we're going to draw an infinity sign like this, and we'll go up through the middle. And as you're doing that, you're going to stare intently at your thumbnail. And don't move your head, if possible, just move your eyes. What I'd like you to do is all stand up. We're going to do this together. So up through the middle, up and over. Up through the middle. Don't move your head if possible, just move your eyes. And if you know anything about NLP, you know that when you access different fields of vision, you are accessing different parts of your brain. Now let's switch hands, up through the middle. making this kind of movement, where you're accessing all parts of the brain like this, and you're crossing the midline, what this does is it activates all parts of your brain, lights up all parts of your brain, and also integrates your brain, coherence of brain functioning in all hemispheres. Now what we're going to do, 2 hands together, like this. Yikes. Drop the mic. Mic drop. Okay. Okay, great, 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 great. Now, the next thing we're going to do is something called cross crawl. Just do as I do. And if you can't do this standing up, you can do it sitting down. And Maureen, could you help him? He doesn't quite get it. In fact, help her also. You can do it seated, that's fine. It works just as well seated, just as well. Now, as you do this, what I'd like you to do is keep your head still, but look all around the room in all fields of vision, and at the same time, hum a little tune. Very good. You may be seated. It's amazing what you can get people to do, isn't it? Okay, now we're going to do something called the hookup. So what we're going to do is place one foot over the other, one ankle over the other, one ankle over the other. And then what I'd like you to do is sit down, please. Not standing. And then your 2 hands like this, back of the hands together. All right, now one hand over the other, clasp fingers. Relax. So you can keep your hands here in order to access the root chakra, or you can put your hands like this to access the heart chakra. And then we're going to just do a little meditation for a couple minutes. So what you'll do is just close your eyes. Keep your mouth closed and just breathe. Breathe deeply. And as you breathe in, place the tongue on the roof of the mouth. As you breathe out, relax the tongue. Just keep your mouth closed, so you're breathing through your nose. Tongue on the roof of the mouth as you breathe in. Relax the tongue as you breathe out. Tongue on the roof of the mouth as you breathe in. And just relax the tongue as you breathe out. And every time you breathe out, just let go, let go, let go. Just go into a deeper and deeper state of relaxation. Tongue on the roof of the mouth as you breathe in. Relax the tongue as you breathe out. Letting go with every out-breath. All right, now uncross your ankles and just place your fingers, tips together in your lap. Just relax. All right, take a big deep breath. How do you feel? Could be better, could be worse. Anyone else? How do you feel? Energized, right. Centered. That's exactly what these brain gym exercises do. They make you energized, they make you centered, they clear out your whole energy field instantaneously. They're very, very powerful energy medicine. So anytime I teach a workshop or before meditation, I do the brain gym exercises with the group because it's amazing, the result. And it also clears out the atmosphere, the energy of the atmosphere as well, when everyone is aligned and their brains are coherent. So it's very powerful. The exercises are in one of my books, and I have a table over there, and it's in the book, The Power of Auras. Auras, the Auras book. Okay, so now we're going to talk about auras for a moment. So this is our aura, our auric field, and according to ancient Indian philosophy, and according to the reality of what our energy field consists of, it consists of 5 sheaths. They're also called kosha. Kosha means sheath. And the sheaths include the food sheath. I wonder if my pointer works. Anyway, the food sheath, which is our physical body. And the reason it's called the food sheath is because it's made of food, it's sustained by food, and it becomes food for something else after we're gone. So that's why it's the food sheath. Then we have the vital sheath, which consists of what we call prana, or chi, or ki. In India, they call it prana. In China, they call it chi. In Japan, they call it ki. And that is the life force energy that is flowing through that subtle body. That is what is keeping us alive. That is what gives us life and sustains our life. And that's called the pranamaya kosha, or the pranic body, the vital sheath. Then we have the mental sheath, mental and emotional sheath. So that's where we experience through the senses. Our sensory perception is in the mental sheath. Then we have the intellect sheath, which is our intellect, our decision-making factor, and our ego is in that sheath. And then what we call the blissful sheath, which is the anandamaya kosha, which is our causal body, which is the body in which we individuate, in which we become a separate thing from everything around us. So those are the 5-fold sheath. And then we have what's called chakra. Chakra. Let's say that word, chakra. Okay, chakra. Okay, there's no such word as chakra in the English language or in the Sanskrit language. It is a Sanskrit word, and it is chakra. So that's how you pronounce it. And these are the 7 major chakras. I wrote a book called The Power of Chakras, and in that book, I talk about 14 chakras that are discussed in the ancient scriptures of India. The 7 major ones are listed here. And one of those chakras, okay, so we have the base chakra, the sacral chakra, navel chakra, heart chakra, throat chakra. And then we have the agya chakra, and that's the 3rd eye. And that's pronounced agya. It's not pronounced ajna, okay? So the agya chakra, that's the 3rd eye, and above that is the crown. So the 3rd eye is actually located in a specific place in the center of your brain, in the area of the pineal gland. And this is how it's depicted according to the ancient scriptures of India. It has this om sound in the middle of it, and that's the chakra, agya. And this agya chakra is the 3rd eye. It's called the 3rd eye because we see the world through these 2 eyes, all the beauties of the world, the vast universe. We see everything through our senses, through our sense of sight. But we can see beyond this physical world with what we call the 3rd eye, with this 3rd eye that's located near the pineal gland. And that 3rd eye has been depicted throughout the ages For example, there's a sculpture of Buddha with a third eye, and the third eye is here in the area of the forehead and throughout the brain, actually, but the center of it is in that pineal gland. This is actually called the kshetram. Kshetram means trigger point of the third eye is in the forehead. Every chakra has a kshetram. For example, the heart chakra, the kshetram is here, although the chakra itself is in the center of your spine. It's in the spine. The chakras themselves are in the spinal column, but they're not in the physical body. It's important to understand that chakras are not physical things. They're in your subtle body. They are in your pranamaya kosha. They're in your vital sheath. They're not in the physical body. If a physician would dissect a corpse, he would see no chakra anywhere. And the chakras are centers of energy that are regulating your physical body. They are what is keeping you alive, but they're not physical in the sense of touching them, seeing them, finding them in an autopsy. So you can see the third eye, the forehead of various statues of Hindu gods and goddesses throughout the world. These are in India. This is from Tibet. The third eye is depicted. People put dots of color. They put sandalwood paste or kumkum on the third eye. And women, just to depict the third eye, just to say, oh, here's the third eye. Here it is. That's me, actually, and I'm sitting with a beautiful holy saint from Hardwar, India, and she has this kumkum on her forehead, depicts the third eye. But also there is something, for example, if you go to a Hindu temple, they will do a ceremony for you, like a puja ceremony, or they do a havan, some kind of ceremony. And then after the ceremony, they'll take for the sandalwood, and they'll put it on your third eye. And this does, since the sandalwood has been infused with some spiritual energy, you may feel something when they dot your forehead with the third eye. You'll feel an elevated consciousness. You'll feel the wave of bliss or something like that. And then women wear this dot as a decoration, especially in India. Okay, so this is where the third eye is located, right there in the pineal gland. You can see it there on the diagram. It's actually not in the brain, amazingly. It's the only thing in the head, in the skull, that's not in the brain. It's not part of the brain. It's part of the endocrine system, pineal gland. And it sort of looks like a pine cone. So the pineal resembles a tiny pine cone, a beehive, or a corn stalk. According to the Greek physician Galen, its name derives from its resemblance to nuts found in pine cones of the stone pine. So it's a pineal gland because it looks like a pine cone. And you'll see throughout the world various depictions of this pine cone or beehive-looking thing. For example, this is the biggest temple in the world in Cambodia, over 400 acres, Angkor Wat. And you see these pine cone-looking things on the top of the temple. Also in the Vatican, there's the Court of the Pine Cone. And you'll see the pine cone is depicted there, amazingly, in the Vatican. You'll see the Pope has a pine cone on his staff. In ancient Greece, there's something called a thyrsus, which is a fennel stalk with a pine cone on the top of it. The fennel stalk is a representation of what we call the Sushumna Nadi, which is an energy conduit, a tube of energy that runs from the base of your spine all the way to the top of your head. And that is the nadi or meridian In China, they call them meridian. In India, they call them nadi. Those are tubes through which this prana energy flows. But remember, they're not physical. You can't find them in the body. They are your subtle body. They're in this subtle body called the vital body, and they are keeping you alive. After you die, when your body drops off, that vital body still remains, and all your other subtle bodies still remain. Your mental body still remains. That's why when a person has a near-death experience and they go out of their body, they can see their body lying there. What is seeing? They're not seeing through their eyes, are they? What is seeing? What is seeing is the mental body, and the mental body is where our senses are. Seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling. It's not in our physical body. So you can hear the physicians trying to resuscitate you. You can see your body there. How's that possible if sight is in the eyes? Sight is not in the eyes. It's in the subtle body. And this is an Assyrian picture of a priest with a pine cone, and he's holding some kind of bucket there. I guess that's some ointment that he's blessing people with using the pine cone. Then we have, in the Jewish tradition, we have what we call the tefillin, which they wrap this around their head, and there, it's a third eye area, they have this box, and inside the box is some holy scripture, and they wear this when they do prayers. And the third eye is in the Bible, only a couple times though. But this talks about the tefillin. This particular scripture is about binding, binding that between your eyes. This is a scripture from which derives the tefillin. And then this is another scripture. It says, and this is also about the pineal. And Jacob called the name of the place Pineal, face of God. It means face of God. For I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. And as he passed over Peniel, the sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh. This is when Jacob was injured. Okay, so this is a reference to Peniel, could be. Then Jesus also talked about the third eye. By the way, this is a painting I did. I like to draw pictures. And he said, and today is Easter, right? So today we're celebrating Easter. And this is what Jesus said. The light of the body is the eye. Therefore, if thine eye be single, body shall be full of light. In fact, a scripture found in India, that ISSA. If you just do a Google search for Issa, you can read this amazing story that was found in Tibet in the 1800s. And it's about Jesus. You also find in architecture this third eye idea. So we have Chartres Cathedral, for example, which has in the center a third eye, and we have a triptych on the bottom. We have 3 windows on the bottom. The middle window represents Sushumna Nadi, which is this energy tube going through the center of his spine. And then there's one on either side. One is called the Ida, and the other is called Pingala. And these are the main energy tubes that run through your body. And then, of course, there is the Eye of Providence. The Eye of Providence is in the back of our $1 bill. So the people who created this knew about the third eye. They knew about this mystical eye of higher knowledge. So this is what George Washington said about the eye of providence. He said, "The many remarkable interpositions of the divine government in the hours of our deepest distress and darkness have been too luminous to suffer me to doubt the happy issue of the present contest." So he believed in providence. He believed in God directing the affairs of man. And that eye of providence is what is depicted on the back of the $1 bill. However, there's a difference between the eye of providence and the all-seeing eye. The all-seeing eye is what the Masons believe in. The Masons are all into this all-seeing eye. But that's a different thing. It's not interference of God in humanity's plans and humanity's actions. It's actually just a watchful eye that just watches over us. So there's a definite distinction, and the Masons will argue with you if you say that the eye that they believe in is the eye of providence. So here's a Masonic tracing board which shows that all-seeing eye. And also the Sirius is included in that. It's depicted, well, it is actually there on the left side, you see Sirius. But more than 20 times brighter than our sun, known as the dog star, Sirius is the brightest star in the sky. In ancient civilizations, Sirius was of supreme importance to astronomy, mythology, and the occult. Deemed the, quote, sun behind the sun and the true source of our sun's potency, it was considered the light keeping the spiritual realm alive, the true light shining in the east, the spiritual light. It is associated with the pineal gland, the source of spiritual light in the body. Its true meaning is the eye of wisdom, the third eye which every human can awaken. So here it shows actually our sun and our moon, and that star there in the center, that's Sirius. And this is a Masonic, another Masonic symbol, Masonic tracing board. Okay, so then there's something else, and that is the eye of Horus, which we'll talk about now. So the eye of Horus, the sky god, he's represented by this falcon. And Osiris is the creator. Horus is on the left side there, and Seth is on the right side. And they were fighting for the throne when their father Osiris died. They were fighting, and Horus plucked out Seth's testicles and threw them in the ocean, and then Seth plucked out Horus's eye, and then somehow the eye got restored when Thoth, I think, is the one that went down in the ocean and restored the eye, and it became the eye of Horus. The eye of Horus, restored by Thoth. And this is a symbol of the third eye. As a matter of fact, this eye of Horus looks peculiarly like the brain. If you take a look at this diagram, you'll see the resemblances between the brain and the eye of Horus. Also, the symbol of prescription medicine comes from the eye of Horus directly. There is a history, and that's where it comes from. There's also an eye on various ships from the ancient world. And the eye was supposed to watch over the sailors and keep them safe. There's also another symbol, the Uraeus, which is that snaky thing that's on depictions of pharaohs. Have this snaky-looking thing that looks like an eye, third eye. Now, this is kind of interesting. I think it was 2013 that Rick Strassman made an amazing discovery. He wrote a book called The Spirit Molecule. And this particular molecule is called DMT, in dimethyltryptamine. Now, if anybody was back in the 60s, they might have taken a DMT trip, a psychedelic experience that lasted only a few hours. Quick up, quick down, and experience the cosmos in between. So right now, the Amazon has become a tourist destination for people to go and experience something called ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is a plant medicine consisting of this molecule, DMT. So the amazing discovery that Rick Strassman made, which is a stunning discovery, he found that when they did experiments, his Cottonwood Foundation did these experiments, and what they found is in rodents, which are our cousins, by the way. They are mammals. The reason why all the scientific experimentation is done on rodents is because they're, mammals. They're like us. So a little less intelligent, but, they've got the same physical characteristics. So they have a pineal gland, these rodents. And what Rick Strassman found was that the rodent's pineal gland produces DMT. This is a stunning discovery because what it implies is that all along the ancients were right, that the third eye indeed is the place where mystical experiences come from. It is the eye of illumination. It is the eye of higher wisdom. It is the eye of where Jupiter resides. Jupiter. All of the chakras in our body have corresponding planets associated with them. And the chakra, the third eye chakra, has Jupiter associated with it. Guru, the planet Guru. The planet Guru in Sanskrit means Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet that represents higher wisdom, higher learning, higher knowledge. And that is there in our pineal gland. So, this, as far as I'm concerned, he proved it in rodents. This tells me that we are producing DMT in our pineal gland. Now, this DMT, or whatever it is we're producing in our brains, is known as the nectar of immortality, Amrita, or Soma. In India, they call it Amrita, which means the nectar of immortal life, or Soma. They actually pray to Soma. There's an entire chapter in the Rig Veda, ancient scripture, to Soma. So this nectar of immortal life in this pot, kumbha, there's something called the Kumbh Mela, which is a fair that happens in India every Kumbh Mela. And there's an ancient out ocean and the life coming out, like medicine, the pot in his hand, and he pops out of the ocean, of drinking the pot of nectar, and it restores their strength. So that is the immortal nectar, the nectar of immortal life that we produce, and this is in fact, is filled with stories about ascended masters, immortal masters, and beings of light. Not only the usual suspects like Saint Germain and Babaji, but from all over the world, in China and India, and it's just fascinating and very inspiring. Power of Auras, this is the book that has the brain gym exercises that we started out today's class with. And this will help you to develop your ability to read auras. It's got dozens and dozens of exercises to help you to learn how to develop your clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient abilities. And by the way, there's nothing superior about any of those three. Some people think that, oh, you have to be able to see if you're going to be psychic, but that's not true. You don't have to ever see anything. If you can hear or you can feel, and most people, by the way, are clairsentient. Almost everyone is clairsentient. There are very few people that are clairvoyant or clairaudient. So most people feel, and that's how they get their messages, and that's just fine. Power of Chakras, this is the one that talks about the 14 chakras and based on the ancient scriptures of India. And this is also an award-winning book. And then I have Color Your Chakras, which is a coloring book. And that's totally fun. And like I said, all these books are next door. And then this is my award-winning Ben Franklin Award winner book. I just won the Ben Franklin Award. I'm so proud. I got first place for this memoir, Maharishi and Me, Seeking Enlightenment with the Beatles Guru. This is about my experience, my journey with this amazing spiritual master, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who was the most famous guru of the 20th century, and what it was really like to be with him behind the curtain of his this crazy ride that I was on during that period of time. And also what really happened to the Beatles when they were there. There's a lot of controversy about what happened, what didn't happen. It's all exposed in this book. This is a tell-all kind of book. It's fun to read. And everything that I teach, I learned from this divine being of light, Babaji. He's my main man. And you can read about him in the book Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. There's some chapters about him in there. And so he's my inner teacher. And we all have inner teachers that we can learn from. We don't have to have a human guru or a human tutor. We can learn from within. We can connect with a divine being and be mentored by that divine being. All we have to do is ask. Everything that I teach is based upon one principle. Ask and it shall be given unto you. So it's all about asking and receiving, asking and receiving, asking and receiving. The more you ask, the more you're going to receive. And when you ask, you'll get better experiences. For example, in meditation, ask a question, ask for guidance, ask for healing, ask for a spiritual experience. Call upon a divine being, ask them to come. Call upon a dozen divine beings, ask them to come and lift your vibration and lift you. It's amazing. It's about asking and asking and asking, and you'll just, your life will be filled with miracles when you ask and ask and ask. So I think that's it. We're done. But thank you for being here, and I really enjoyed speaking with you today. So see me next door in the vending room, and you can get copies of my books.